What's up, bro?
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Hey, man. Doing
Dude,
good.
my next guest is a comedian, a professor, but more importantly, my friend, Freddy Stebbins. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Dan. It's good to be here.
Dude, you're very unique because not only do you wear lots of different hats, but you're a fifth-generation Floridian.
Yes. Fifth-generation Miamian.
Miamian. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. My great-great-grandparents pioneered Homestead in 1907.
Wow.
Yes, that's like BC days, before Cubans. And
Cubans think Miami started in 1960.
Yeah, it was close. What you don't know is that originally we pioneered with the tequesta. We'll talk about that later. Yeah, they pioneered in old Homestead.
Uh-huh.
They took the train down from Michigan, Flagler's train.
Yeah.
And there's a hotel there called the Redland Inn, and that was they helped build that. I'm pretty sure, yeah. And at night, my great grandmother Nanny, we called her, little. She was like 97. She's like, I remember at night we'd have to go to bed early because the panthers would eat the hogs, and we could hear them outside. I was like, what the fuck?
Fuck yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
You know.
That's Miami's always had characters, right?
Always had characters.
It still does.
It still does. It's the end of the line, right? It was the playground of America from 1925 until at least now. It's still now.
It's still now,
yeah.
Right? We were just briefly before talking about a few characters. But so a lot of your comedies is characters, right?
Yes.
But it's a broad range from an old Cuban guy all the way to Henry Flagler.
Oh, yeah.
And how do you develop your characters? Like, what makes you say, hey, I want to do, Henry Flagler?
I'm really into Miami history.
Right.
I'm really into it. And my dad, and growing up in Miami, he worked at the airport. Mm-hmm. And so we'd always go on Delta Airlines, stand by at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd sit there, and the characters you would see in the airport. I freaking love airports. Right. I don't know why. And whenever you'd go to that gate, right? Say you're flying back to Miami. Say you're in Atlanta, and you have to fly. As soon as you got to that gate, you'd see the Miami people. You know what I mean?
They stand out in the crowd.
They stand
yeah.
out. You can hear it.
And you can smell the cologne.
And as a kid in the 70s and 80s, it wasn't just one type of person that was in Miami. You had the old retiree Jewish. Let me tell you something. I've been waiting here for 42 minutes, and we were supposed to, Shelley, and I'd be fascinated, right? And then you'd see the different Cubans. You'd have the old man Cuban. Oye, porque ese maricón para happy birthday. Or then you'd get Lisette, who was usually the flight attendant. Hi, my name's Lisette. I go to FIU, pero I want to transfer. If you don't like the oxygen mask, whatever. Like, it was just so many different types of people you would see, and I started studying that. And then I had relatives that were Southern, like crackers, also. Had some redneck going on. I had a grandfather on my mom's side who was a Jewish Frenchman, and these accents, I just loved them. And so I just started doing accents. And when I was about 13 years old, I went to the youth fair, and they had a costume contest, and everyone would do like a traditional thing. And I showed up, 13.
Yeah.
Dressed as a character named Super Chaperona, who was a large Cuban-American woman that was on a TV show called Que Pasa USA.
Yeah.
And I showed up, 13 years old, on stage and did this weird-ass character, and I won third place a Katrina and the Waves album. And that's when I realized, oh, shit. This is fun.
Now, did you start in the performing arts, or did you get right into improv? What was your journey?
I started in improv. I moved to LA, and I got involved with a great troupe called the Groundlings, which are quite famous. Maya Rudolph would give me rides home, and I'd hang out with all these incredible people, and I'd do characters. I'd never done stand-up before. I was scared of stand-up. Yeah. And then I started doing some stand-up, and I'm weird. I'm a weird comic, right? I'm not a traditional comic,
right.
I do characters on stage. It's a big no-no to wear any sort of props or anything. But I said, can I say F word? No.
Yes, say fuck, whatever. Yeah.
Thank you. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to do my thing. And I'm going to do the Miami thing.
Right.
And that's what I did. I started doing Miami humor, in 2004, before people knew about we all knew Miami humor.
If you lived in Miami, right.
If you lived in Miami. And people were like, you're really funny in Miami.
Right.
And I owned it, screw it.
So how do you gain that audience? You do a Miami act or these hilarious characters, and then you go to Atlanta. Like, how do you win that audience over?
Okay, so what I do is I rarely get booked outside of Florida.
Okay.
But I do.
Yeah.
And when I do, what I do is I still do these characters, but the references are different, right? So instead of saying, if I'm in LA, I won't say Hialeah, I'll say East LA, right? Or, how many people here, how many Mexicans we have here instead of how many Cubans we have here, right? That sort of thing.
Right.
But many of these characters I've found, after a while, everyone kind of can relate to that character somehow, and a lot of what I do is improv anyways. So I improvise, as much as possible. Yeah.
Crazy. You had told me that you started off as an announcer. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Where did you how did you start off as an announcer?
So Dan, I was a Jai Alai play-by-play announcer,
Which is fascinating to me.
So if your listeners don't know what Jai Alai is, Jai Alai in the Miami back from the 50s through 20 years ago was this game where they catch the ball and they sling it against a hard wall. It's famous in Spain, and it was a big deal in Miami. But by the time the 1980s came around, it was like faded glory.
Right.
That's where you went. It was like kind of like a dog track, and you'd go there and it was filled with smoke and people.
And you could gamble, right?
You could gamble.
Yeah.
You gamble on Jai Alai. Yeah,
Right.
you could bet $2. You could get beers, like 30-cent beers.
Yeah.
And my dad, who worked at Delta Airlines at nights, he'd get off real late. He'd be like, "You're 18. Screw it. Meet me. Pick me up at the airport, and we'll go to Miami Jai Alai right next to the airport. And we'll get you some beers, and maybe we'll bet $5 or $6." And I got addicted to it. And there, people, they would yell. These old men, "Hey, Michelena, they'd bet $5.
Right.
And I could drink beers, and I thought it was so awesome. I got into it, and I learned the game of Jai Alai, which is actually an incredible sport. Very skilled, very dangerous. But the atmosphere was incredible. Talk about Miami characters.
Yeah.
And then you're there and you're sitting there and like Don King will walk by, with like two prostitutes at 1 a.m. on a Tuesday night.
That's right.
And
He was a Jai Alai fan.
He was a Jai Alai fan.
Didn't he buy Daniel Jai Alai?
I think he bought one of those, and he was a boxing fan. They used to have boxing there.
Right.
Flyweight, from Panama. And so I'd go to the boxing matches there with these people from Nicaragua. That place was something. And I liked it so much that when I was in grad school, I needed a job, and I was at Jai Alai. And one of the announcers recognized me and said, "Hey, I've seen you before. We need an announcer." And I was like, "I don't know anything." And they're like, "Yeah, you do." And I started play-by-play announcing for 2 years. I'd go to grad school, and at night I'd go to Miami Jai Alai.
What does play-by-play announcing at Jai Alai sound like?
Oh, it goes just like this. And they play the song. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome to Miami Jai Alai Game 7, Spectacular 7. And here in the front court, Elorio versus Michelena, Team 1. And here's the catch, Elorio. Great scoop by Elorio on the inside to the 7 line. Up goes Michelena, back with the return. Here's Elorio with the Tejada inside. Great catch by Michelena. Strong forearm to the left, going overhead on the picada, Elorio. Elorio back with ease. And now it bounces forward. The overserve back, Elorio, Michelena, Chula, 0.7. And only 4 people were listening to me.
And that's all night.
All night.
Your voice is wrecked out there.
Wrecked.
But you had a blast.
And it's filled with smoke.
Yeah.
There might have been 100 people in the audience, right? But it was on closed circuit TV back then. So it was actually being played in Vegas and Atlantic City.
Yeah.
Oh, and I thought...
And it had those little TVs.
Those
like
little
everywhere.
TVs, right. And these you usually would turn off the volume. But I loved it. I thought it was so cool. And I'd invite my friends over and... put their name up in lights and yeah.
But that wasn't the only time you did broadcasting. Didn't you do broadcasting for the Dodgers?
I sure
Not Vince
did.
Scully Dodgers. You did a different thing.
It was slightly different. So when I moved to LA to be in the Groundlings, I was really good at accents. And my friend worked for the LA Dodger Network, and this is the .com era, and they wanted to find some fanatic Dodger baseball fan that would do something crazy. He would love the Dodgers so much that he would get in a car and he would drive to every single baseball game around the country for the Dodgers, like every one. And they needed a fanatic fan, and I like baseball,
Right.
but I wanted the job. So I acted like I studied, and I went in there and I auditioned and told them I'm a fanatic fan. I'll drive to every game. I lied completely. And they're like, okay, you got the job. Here's a brand new Honda CRV. We're going to cover it in all kinds of logos, carparts.com. You have to wear a Dodgers jersey and a hat. And every day, no matter where you are in the country, even if you're on I-5 in the middle of, wherever, you have to call the radio network, LA Dodger, which huge radio network.
Yeah.
And you have to tell them what you're doing as Freeway Freddy, the ultimate Dodger fan. And I literally drove 57,000 miles.
Insane.
In 4 months. Yeah, everywhere.
How do you come up with your characters?
Alcohol.
Alcohol, that usually helps.
I like accents. If they have an accent,
You're in.
I'm in. Yeah. So most of my characters are Miami-based, but if they have an accent, they're exaggerated accents. I love accents.
All right, so where does funny, you think, come from? You born funny, family funny? Like, where does that come from somebody? And can it be developed?
That's a really good question. That depends on who you ask.
I bet you your family's funny, right? In different ways. Maybe
Yeah.
dry humor, whatever, but they have a good sense of humor.
Yeah, so I've always thought that comedy is like, just because you're a comedian doesn't mean you're necessarily really funny.
Right.
And that also doesn't mean you're funnier than other people. So many
100%.
many people are comedians in their bubble, right?
right.
I'm sure you have a friend, like you're hilarious.
Well,
right?
but you have different friends that are, you're right, like, they don't even know they're funny.
They
So,
don't
like,
even
you're-
know they're
you're like,
funny.
This guy's ridiculous.
Right.
It's hilarious.
So comedy, I learned when I did stand-up that there's a whole different thing to being funny with your friends, which is stand-up and
Right.
timing,
Right.
And knowing your audience. But when you get on stage, you have to, if there's a craft to it,
Yeah.
right? But that doesn't answer your question. I would say I'd say it's partially inborn and partially learned, all right? Like
Right.
our personalities. My dad's really funny, all right? He's funny, but he can never get on stage,
Yeah, that's a performance.
Yeah, but he's funny,
Yeah.
We're funny because of someone we grew up with. That's
Right.
how I feel.
Yeah, and I've always found, like, big families tend to have a lot more
Oh,
humor
my
because
God.
you're just not safe. I grew up with 5 kids. You grew up with a
Yeah,
bunch of kids.
well,
Any insecurity you have, good luck. No privacy.
No.
Also, so it's just like all day busting
All
on you.
day, and
And we went to the same school.
We went to the same
that were the same knuckleheads.
And then the funniest people I know are not comedians. Like my Uncle George is the funniest human being I ever met. We have friends.
Yeah,
that are
yeah.
just fucking
They're fucking funny.
hilarious.
Right.
Hilarious.
Hilarious.
But that's comedy too.
Sure.
They're doing stand up really in their for their group, So I don't know. I teach sociology, and we're taught that it's nature versus nurture, but it is both. But it's partially your personality is a little bit biological. We know that, but a lot of it is learned. Right.
Right.
So, but yeah, I don't know. For me, it was a way of being popular. Okay, Columbus. Okay?
Sure.
So we went to I'm a little bit older than Dan. We went to all boys. When I went there, it was all guys, football player, rich guys, whatever. You had to be cool. And I was, 14, and I weighed 92 pounds, and I was a gringo, sort of, and I wasn't popular. And suddenly I wasn't sitting at the cool table. And then one day I did a funny accent for Alonzo Highsmith. It was Alonzo Highsmith. He was there. He was a senior, and he's like, man, you one motherfucking you funny little white boy. And he laughed. And when he laughed, his friends were like, yeah, you're funny. And just doing that taught me, oh my God, I might not be athletic, I might not be great looking, I might not have all the girls, blah, blah, but if I can make them laugh,
You got something.
I can kind of work my way in, you know? And that's what it was, because I never thought I would do I didn't know.
Were you? I mean, were you doing plays and stuff? Or
No.
So when did you go? I'm going to do improv. Like after college? Or did you
It was
start in
after college. I was at University of Miami. I was a president of student body at UM.
Wow.
I was very, very popular. And there was a stand-up comedy competition, and they asked me in my senior year to do it because they thought I was funny, and I had never done it. And I got on stage. It was for MTV.
Okay.
And I did. I was supposed to do 2 minutes, but I did 30 minutes.
Wow.
And I killed, And I thought they liked me.
And that was your first time?
First time ever.
So that never happens to anybody. Most people bomb their first time,
Yeah,
right?
but I thought they liked me because I was popular, because I was in a big
And that was your
fraternity.
audience. That was your raving fans. They all knew you.
Yeah, but it turns out
You're pretty good.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And then someone said you should do improv, and I used to watch Saturday Night Live, and I wanted to do that, so I decided to move to LA and get in this troupe. That was the feeder to SNL, and I got in this improv school and worked my way. We started with 500 people. We made it to 8 people. All of them are kind of famous, but I didn't get.
You're famous. Here, you're a Miami legend.
Yeah. But that's how I got into improv. Yeah.
So you're a professor. Lessons learned that from teaching and then comedy. Like how have they helped you in both? You got one foot in each.
I would say comedy has helped me a lot in teaching.
In teaching, why?
Students like professors that are entertaining,
Engaging for sure.
engaging, that know how to be quick.
Yeah.
Quick comebacks. That when you get on stage as many times as I have, thousands and 5,000 times maybe, it feels so natural.
Yeah.
A classroom is nothing compared to being in front of a group at the improv.
It's the greatest high when you get a laugh, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're a professor who's a comedian, it's just, and they can be a tough crowd too, students too. When it's like I had class this morning, 8 a.m. right at FIU, right? So I'll practice my jokes on them. If it works at 8 a.m. in the morning,
It's gonna work.
Bitch, that's just gonna work at the improv. You know what I'm saying?
Bunch of drunk guys, yeah.
Right? Yeah. So it's. I would say that comedy has helped me just in general. Being a professor. Yeah.
Being a professor. And being a professor, how has it helped you in comedy? Other than you get to practice your jokes.
Well, I tell my students, extra credit, bitch. If you come to that extra credit, there'll probably be something.
That'll be something.
I would say that it's helped me because I have this. It's given me. Sometimes on stage, I kind of act like I'm an authority, and I'll always mention, well, I am a professor, by Day College, and that allows me to. They see me a little bit differently than the other comics after that, and it kind of gives me an edge. I can drop in points of it. Well, how many people know who the mother of Miami was? How many people know that Miami was founded by a woman? I can act like the professor a little bit, but then tell the joke. I've never really thought about that, but that's probably how.
This episode is brought to you by Buena Vista Creative, Miami's premier digital marketing agency. Visit buenavistacreative.com for more info on how Buena Vista can help your business increase revenue and create the brand and digital presence it deserves. Video and podcast production, web and app development, search engine and social media marketing, logo creation, outdoor, print, swag, and more. Visit buenavistacreative.com to learn more.
Yeah, that's the only way.
So getting your word out. So one of the, I think great things about for comics, it's a tough gig, as you know, right? Road trips and bad pay and all that kind of stuff. But man, for comics now, digital, right? I have gotten introduced to so many comics, like their comedy through Instagram Reels, Facebook, just like a quick little. I'm like, that guy's funny, man. Like,
That's
and I
it.
just start following him, and then even podcasts, right? Like,
Oh my God,
And some
yeah.
of them have made a really nice living
Some
that they
of
don't have to
them
be on the
are
road.
huge.
I mean, Rogan being the biggest.
Yes,
Right.
yes. I met him once
Yeah.
at the South Beach Comedy Festival, and he told me something really cool. He was like, do what you think is funny. You know, it sounds stupid, but
100%. Right.
But Joe Rogan told me that. But anyways, yeah, he's the, he's a good example of how, you can. It's all about digital, right? It's all about. So what do you do? Well, as probably a lot of your viewers or listeners know, when you're a comic, or even if you're a business person or whatever, you have to create some sort of online presence.
Yeah.
I mean, start simple. Start with an Instagram page or something like that, and Instagram for people under 30, right? Facebook for over. Definitely that's a big one. I have so many followers on just Instagram, and I don't even try.
That's how I got reconnected with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I love those platforms for that. That's a huge one. Today, there was a time back in the day where you had to physically mail a videotape and a headshot, right? That doesn't happen anymore.
No, not at all.
It's a link now, right?
Crazy.
And yeah, you can, if you get enough followers, man. There's people that are only funny online. They don't even perform.
They don't even perform. Right.
That's their thing, and their thing is bigger than performance.
And it's an easier, more profitable life.
It's incredible, and
Yeah.
you can edit it and stuff.
Exactly.
So I would say find someone that knows how to do a simple, even like a WordPress or something like that, just a basic website. Yeah, that's very important. And anytime someone texts you or emails you, send them something back, even if it's just a like.
Yeah. Get them engaged. Get them right.
Engaged, yes. And if you don't know, and if you bump into them, it happens to me in Miami. People will be like, "Hey, Freddie." If you don't remember who they are, still be friendly,
Yeah, because people will bump into you when you're from here, but Professor Freddy or the comedian Freddy or one of the dozen characters you do.
Yes.
All right, what's your favorite character to do? Other than your signature character, which we will talk about in a minute.
Let's see.
ADHD, inner city.
I know, yes. I did that, yes, for 6 months. It was horrible.
Which is that one?
No, that's real.
Oh, really?
I was a kindergarten through 5 through 8, ADHD, attention hyperactivity.
Oh, I thought that was one of your characters.
No.
So you really
when
did.
I lived in
you
LA,
lived it. Oh God.
I had 10 kids, and they were crazy, and it was me and 5 assisted adults, and they flipped their dad. I mean, these kids were something, but they liked me for that semester because I could.
Yeah, you do the characters and stuff. Yeah.
And I'd go home exhausted and want to shoot myself, but I'd say I don't know. I have a few favorite characters.
Anything Cuban related from Miami, like an old Cuban, you're in.
Yeah, those are my favorite.
Those are your go-tos.
I love the old Cuban man, the old viejo. I love him. I love the Lisette, that goes to from Hialeah or from Kendall. Who, oh my
Kendall's
God.
the hood. Kendall's the
hood, like for real. Like you don't even know. Like this is like the round's like the new Kendall, like quote unquote. Like it's like, and they have a Flanagan's. I love her. I'm aging myself, but I really like that old retiree from New York, that we don't see
a little
anymore.
salty.
A little salty.
Yeah.
He's always coughing. And he thinks everyone's Mexican. Like this one. Oh, you're a tall Mexican. But I don't know. They change. I have a new character I really like. I'm going to do this on a weekly basis. He's the clearly gay fantasy football expert. So
why a gay fantasy football?
Okay, so I'm allowed to talk about gay people. That's part of my. I have a little gay in me sitting over there, and I'm so fascinated by stereotypes. And there's a stereotype about gay men, especially ones that have they're just gorgeous. And okay, so there was a flight attendant when I'd fly back and forth to Miami on Delta all the time, and his name was Bruce. And back then, like, you knew someone was gay, but like they couldn't say they were.
Right.
But like he was just like, oh honey, I want to tell you something. I've been flying this route nonstop for 14 years. I know Atlanta like the back of my hand, and I know my hands. By the way, I'm a big old football fan. Are you a football fan? Oh my goodness, go Canes. And then he started spewing like NFL statistics.
It didn't fit.
Like it didn't fit. Like if it was one of our friends, like, bro, no, like Tua, like he had that 350, he had like 542 yards in my fantasy league, and then like Tyreek, like he leads the league in first downs. Like you expect to hear that from like a macho.
Yeah.
But this man was the ultimate Dolphin fan. I swear to God.
And he knew everything.
And he had that unmistakable that. So, honey, oh, you've got a Dolphins cap on. Y'all going to the game? Oh, shit, I wish I could go. I've got a flight. But let me tell you something. Did you see Greasy last week? I don't know if you know this. I used to follow him at Purdue. He threw for 442 yards my senior year. I was in love with Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, by the way, has the biggest thighs of any man I've ever seen. Oh, he should play. Well, the Vikings, we don't know about the Vikings this year. The Vikings this year, their secondary is just so depleted. So Bruce is fantastic. He's gorgeous, and he's the ultimate football fan. He's going to have his own fantasy prediction weekend. Every weekend, he'll tell you who to pick.
Where can I hear this?
He hasn't been created yet, but he will be on freddystebbins.com, my website.
We can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a show that I attended, and for any of our listeners, definitely go. Freddy and the Flamingos.
Yes.
This is a big 1950s band. Tell our audience about it because it is so much fun.
Freddy and the Flamingos is a throwback to the 1950s and 60s when people would come to Miami Beach and they'd see the big show. But late at night in the bar area, they'd have these smaller lounge act shows. And it was, with maybe like a stripper, and dirty jokes.
Yeah.
And I think Mad Men, that sort of thing. And it was usually some washed up old comedian or singer with a cheesy outfit on and a small 3-piece orchestra behind him. Glitter, and bad jokes, songs. And that old lounge act that you might have seen back then, I've recreated. And I do it at various bars around Miami. It's great.
It's an awesome show.
And I wear my pink, character with my black bouffant hairdo, with my pencil-thin black mustache, and I'm Freddy Flamingo, I was famous in Havana, and now I work on cruise ships, and occasionally you're honored to see me here tonight. Let's sing a song for you. I might be gay or a Jew. It's hot, whatever, And the orchestra is behind me, also in pink tuxedos. And it's like a little, and we bring up comedians. Kind of naughty. It's X-rated a little bit. Maybe a stripper. We usually have someone, burlesque.
But it's a blast, man.
It's a blast.
It's a total blast.
It's a blast. We have little trinkets, and it's cool. It's caught on.
Now, you're into astrology. Am I correct?
I am.
You are?
I am.
And one of your characters is very into astrology.
So I lied. I'm actually not into astrology. But my character is very much into astrology. And he's one of my favorite characters. His name is Walter Mercado. Walter Mercado.
And tell the audience, because I obviously know who he is. If you grew up in South Florida in a certain period of time, you definitely know he was on the TV nonstop.
Yes, if you're Hispanic or Latino American, you might know. Walter Mercado we're pretty sure he was the first televised astrologer that would tell you your fortunes, on TV once a week. He was from Puerto Rico.
Right.
And he caught on in Latin America. And everyone in Latin America, even in Spain, would watch on Saturday night 15 minutes of Walter Mercado. And Walter Mercado spoke no English, solamente en español. But he was a presence. He was like the Liberace of...
Easily, yeah.
But even more,
over the top.
Over the top. He had this blonde hair coiffed, and he'd wear glittering, like robes and capes and the collar and mystical music, and he had pancake makeup on his face. And growing up in Southwest Miami, my friends were mainly Cuban. I'd go their house, and every Saturday night.
Yeah.
Abuelita, Mrs. Vieira would be there. cállate la boca, Walter. And this man would come on, and I don't speak Spanish. I really don't. I can speak a little bit, but there was something, and he'd go on and he'd do something like this. I don't have the wig with me, but ay, mi amor. Ay, mi amor. My name is Walter Mercado. Ay, I am the Nostradamus of Hialeah. No. We live in a world of consternation. We live in a world of inflation. We live in a world of masturbation. Mi amor, life is what it's about. You know? Ay, Capricornio. Capricornio?
Yeah.
Ay, Capricornio, you're like the ram. Always horny. Capricornio, mi amor. Ay, con mucho amor. And then he would fade off like a ghost in the background. And he became like a cult classic.
Yeah.
He died about 5 years ago, and he lived in Miami.
He lived in Miami for many years, and then Puerto Rico.
And evidently I met someone that saw him walk out of his apartment building with his like 9 white little poodles, and he was in, not the cape, but
one of those gowns.
He was like that.
Yeah, he was like
all the time, right? And there's a documentary on him called
great.
Mucho
Amor, yeah.
And he's just
he never found love.
he
Yeah, that guy that lived with him for 50 years, but he never found love.
No, he never found love. No, he was not Capricornio enough.
Maybe he's with Liberace now.
Maybe he is. We don't know. We don't know for sure, but he's watching us right now.
He's definitely watching you.
Yeah, he's watching me. Yeah. One night, 14 years ago, I was doing comedy open mic at a place called John Martin's, and 2 older men in gray suits. This is at midnight. Walk in and sit right in front of me at the bar doing comedy, and this girl Regina says to me, "Those are Walter Mercado's managers." They had heard that I do this impersonation. There was a write-up in the Herald, and they came and they sat right in front of me, disheveled, their hair late in the day, and they just sat there and they just stared at me. And then they got up and left.
They didn't even laugh?
They chuckled a little bit, and then they got up and left. So that made me know that Walter was aware of my presence. Is that crazy?
Dude, it's totally crazy. Well, that's how I found out about you, because I was like, first of all, it's hilarious, because as a kid, I used to find him hilarious. I'm like, this guy's ridiculous. All these Cuban grandmothers and Latina grandmothers just like, by the way, he had the 900 numbers that you would call for your horoscope and all
This
stuff.
is before Miss Cleo and all that.
Before Miss Cleo, and he was a big deal. And then I was like, wait a minute, this guy Freddy, who's not even Cuban,
gringo.
He's a gringo doing it.
Yes, I don't even understand what he's saying, but I love it.
He's the best. All right, I know you got a show tonight. I'm gonna ask you some fun questions and then get you going, and then we'll learn how people can find out about it. All right, most underrated comedy.
Most underrated
show, movie.
Oh my gosh.
One that you think is funny that, maybe some people don't.
There's 2 of them. One is Nacho Libre.
I love Nacho Libre.
Which is a classic.
Yeah.
Another one none of you have heard of is called The Party with Peter Sellers.
Of course I know The Party. Yeah.
Those are 2.
We're a little older.
Yeah, we're a little bit older. Yeah. But if you're old school, and it wouldn't be politically correct today, but let me tell you.
It's good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right. You can go to dinner with one person in history and one person in comedy. Who do you pick? One person in history and one person in comedy.
One person in history, I would say, I don't want to be cliche, so one person in history. Oh, shoot. God damn it. These are good questions. I'm not a religious person, but Jesus Cristo would be
really?
That would be kind of an interesting.
That would be an interesting.
You know what I mean? I just want to see like what's he all about? Does he really wear sandals? I don't know. What are his thoughts on Lady Gaga? I don't know. I think that would be interesting historically. It's a very cliche answer, but he definitely had some.
And comedy. Who would you pick?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Fudge sickles. I gotta tell you, I would. There's so many.
So many.
I like old comedians that people have never heard of before.
Penny Youngman.
Oh, take my wife, please.
Yeah. Lenny Bruce.
I would say it would probably be Peter Sellers.
He was great.
Peter Sellers, or the other one. None of you know this is Jonathan Winters.
Of course, he does all the voices.
All the voices.
Yeah.
See, so I tend to like,
Because he was always on the Tonight Show.
Always on the
and
Tonight
you'd be like,
Show.
how did he do that?
yeah, or Robin Williams. I would love to talk
Yeah,
to
Robin Williams would be great.
You see a theme here. I love accents. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, even a Tracy Ullman would be interesting to me.
She'd be great.
You
All
know?
right. Favorite Miami word, and you know what I mean by that.
Oh yeah. Oof. Let's see.
There's so many great ones.
Zaire. No. Just few people get that. What was it? Bro.
Bro.
Come on, bro. Damn, bro. For real, bro. Damn, girl. For real, bro. Damn shit. The fuck. No, I love foie gras. Foie gras. I love foie gras. There's so many.
There's so many.
There's so many. I can't.
That outside of date, specifically
Perico.
Perico. Yeah.
Perico. You have to look that up.
You look up.
Yeah. There's so many. Yeah.
All right, I get to ask you one more question.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
let you go.
yeah.
You're big Miami football Hurricanes. You have to answer this, but not as Bruce.
Okay.
Chances this year, predictions. Does Mario got the program going in the right direction? Predictions for the Canes.
I love how we beat Miami of Ohio, and suddenly we're going to the national championship.
Well,
I would say I think Miami's going to go 9-3 this year.
that's a good year.
That's a good year. Little stat: every time we've started off 3-0, we've gone 9-3. I just heard that on the radio.
There you go. Well, tonight they played Bethune-Cookman, so
Yeah,
they better win this one.
they should win that one. So I think we go 9-3. I think we lose to FSU and maybe North Carolina and then someone else, and I think we go to a decent bowl, but maybe not the Sugar Bowl yet. Anything better than the Wheeling Weed Eater
I just
Bowl
wanna
with
see
the
progress. That's all
I just
I wanna
want to
see.
see progress. I
too.
think he is turning it around.
Yeah.
They're much bigger this year. They're huge.
Huge.
They're huge.
Yeah.
You know. And so, John Ruiz has provided lots of steroids for our team, and Miami, it's all about the Jew. No, just kidding. Just kidding. I went to UM.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that this is a good year. I don't think we're gonna win the whole ACC, but there's progress. This guy's serious.
Yeah.
I knew his brother in high school. I think Mario would be a better coach, but all the Cristobal's are very talented, and it's going the right direction. I
Yeah,
go over there all the time, and I see
They got the program going.
they've got it the right direction. Yeah.
Where can people find out about you and Freddy and the Flamingos and follow you?
Yeah, Dan. FreddyStebbins.com. That's my website, FREDDY, Stebbins.com. And I'm doing something kind of fun now. I've started doing comedy-related history tours of Miami. So I'm going to be doing tours of Little Havana dressed as Walter Mercado.
Oh, my God.
Which is bizarre in
great.
itself, right? So, you can find out about those fun events and my emceeing, and I'm going to be emceeing the King Mango Strut again this year, and all kinds. I'm doing a lot right now. FreddyStebbins.com or Freddy Stebbins on Instagram or Facebook if you're over.
Yeah, I
40.
mean, I've done the tour. For corporate events, I took my whole team to the Little Havana tour.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
fantastic. We had a blast. Freddy and the Flamingos, I think I've seen the show twice.
Yeah.
It's great. And then we're going to see stand up and have some fun tonight.
Yeah,
All right,
I'm
sign us
excited.
off as Walter, and then we'll go.
I feel, Dan Arriola, not to be confused with areolas, that you're going to have a fantastic year. And all of your listeners or viewers who are switching between this and pornography will feel the presence and the communicative, ¿cómo se dice? He's Mexican. The communication that you provide, digitally and everything, will come through to you with mucho amor.
Thank you, my man.